Lyon holds the impressive feat of winning 7 consecutive Ligue 1 titles in the early 2000s. Present day, things look different, with the club missing out on European football, changing managers, and even bringing on new ownership as American John Textor becomes the main shareholder at the club. With ambitions to increase spending and rival PSG as the dominant team in France, we're going to kick off this realistic rebuild with a signing to match our ambitions. There have been more and more rumors that Christian Pulisic is looking to leave Chelsea this summer, and there might not be a better time to complete this move for the American. Although Ligue 1 doesn't have the same history for American players that the Premier League or the Bundesliga might have, it does have a strong track record for helping to develop younger players, which I believe Pulisic still falls under. One thing's for certain, the 23-year-old is going to be a star here at Lyon as he completes the transfer for 30 million. With all the transfers Chelsea have made as of late, they were willing to let Pulisic leave on a discounted fee. Developing our youth academy is absolutely going to be a crucial part of this rebuild as we begin the save with a 5-star scout. Because I don't plan on making any further signings in this first season, we'll add another 5-star scout from Germany, along with a 5-star scout from Slovenia. Our first scout will be staying in his home country of France, searching for any type of player. Mind you, we already have a homegrown talent. William Remy is a French center forward, already 70 rated, with a potential of 78 to 94. A fitting last name, as Loic Remy, a former Lyon Youth Academy player, has recently been re-added back to career mode. But looking at Remy's attributes, I feel like he'll be better suited as a right winger. We'll be checking on his progress throughout this season. Our second scout will be in Belgium for 9 months, searching for any type of player, and our final scout in Brazil for 9 months, also searching for any type of talent. The motivation behind these countries is that with Textor coming in as new owner, Lyon will join the network of clubs with ties to Eagle Football Holdings Limited. As chairman and leading shareholder, Textor wants to see collaboration between Premier League side Crystal Palace, one of the top Brazilian clubs Botafogo, and Belgian's second division side RWD Molenbeek. While only one of these teams are licensed in FIFA 23, that being Crystal Palace, we've already seen some of that collaboration and transfers between these clubs, with Brazilian winger Jeffin's recent transfer from Botafogo to Lyon. Hopefully we can embark on a strong start to our Liga season. Here is the squad with the updated transfers. I've made a few position changes, with Tolisso shifting forward to a center mid role, and promising talent Ryan Shirky acting as a right winger to help with his development. It's a win in our season opener as Tolisso scores the only goal. Speaking of goals for this season, we have to get Lyon back to European football. We'll check on results at the halfway mark, and currently we sit 4th place. Mind you, only the top 3 teams in Ligue 1 will qualify for Champions League football. However, I am happy with the development within the team. No massive injury or morale issues, but we do have some players with expiring contracts. According to some reports, Cherki is close to signing a contract extension with Lyon, keeping him at the club until 2025. So he will be signing a contract extension, keeping him at the club at least in the near future. Other players like Houssem Aouar will be leaving on a pre-contract as he joins up with Mönchengladbach at the start of Season 2. As the Ligue 1 season reaches its end, we've got a very interesting situation. We currently sit 4th. However, there is still a possibility if Nantes drop points and we win our fixture against Ajaccio, then we will see Lyon's return back to Champions League football. The Groupama Stadium is still one of my favorites in FIFA 23. The colors are so vibrant, and hopefully we can close out this season with a victory and keep squad morale and fan morale at a high. We nearly conceded an opener, but this was called back for offside, so we'll head into the break level, and it's the same situation for Nantes as they're currently drawing Lille. About 30 minutes ago, to save our season, Cherki with a long distance effort off target, so we will make a change and bring on Bradley Barcola, who has really burst onto the scene at Lyon this season, the 20-year-old with 5 goals and 3 assists in Ligue 1. He played a key part in this goal for Pulisic, playing him the ball in stride, and it was an easy finish for our new signing. This has got to be a celebration exclusive to him, as he gave us the 1-0 victory, and now we just need to see how the match between Nantes and Lille ended. A review of all competitions will indeed see us finish 3rd in Liga. A final look at the standings resulted in Nantes drawing on their final match day. PSG, unsurprisingly, winning the league title with 91 points, and Marseille in that 2nd place spot. For at least this season, Liga has an interesting situation where they actually have 4 relegated teams, because I believe they have future plans to reduce the number of teams in this competition to 18. Looks like Paris FC will join our rivalry with PSG in the top division of France. Saint-Etienne, Sochaux, and Metz will also gain promotion to Ligue 1. Marseille win the Coupe Nationale with a victory against Lens in the final, It's Real Madrid to defeat Eintracht Frankfurt in the UEFA Super Cup. Bayern will get their revenge in the Champions League after City defeated them in the quarterfinals of the competition IRL. Spurs earning a trophy as they defeat Stade Rennais in the Europa League final, and PSV will get the win against Braga in the Conference League. Another thing I like about Lyon is that they're keen to return former players. Lacazette seems to have not skipped a beat as he scored 21 goals from 39 appearances. It ranked him as the third best goal scorer in Ligue 1, two Marseille players actually sharing the Golden Boot title. It was a great outing from Pulisic as well, not only contributing 15 assists, but growing 5 in his rating. He actually led the league in this category, well clear of other players. As much as possible, I'll be trying to develop these future prospects at Lyon. Koumbedi has become a key player for the squad, partly due to injury. He's gone up +9 in his rating to a 75. We've already talked at length about Cherki, but he has now reached the 80 overall mark. Lebanon is another talent that's playing an increasing squad role at Lyon. The midfielder going up +4 in his rating to a 77 overall. Barcola was our biggest success story this season, achieving double-digit growth to an 80 overall. Lukeba has quickly become one of Lyon's best defenders. He saw a +5 growth in his overall. As promised, I'll give an update on our homegrown talent. Remy has gone up +7 due to both his position change and development throughout this first season. Our French scout managed to bring back another quality player with Isaac Lesage. The 70-rated center attacking mid has 81 to 94 potential. Leonardo Correa is a 64-rated right winger from Brazil. He has 72 to 94 potential. Rounding things out with Ben Willems, a 59-rated left back from Belgium, 87 to 93 potential. A great opening campaign despite our manager rating dropping. I'm looking forward to season 2. European football is back at Olympique Lyonnais. I'm hoping that our squad can cope with the improved competition. But if you can leave a like on the video for our first French rebuild of the FIFA calendar year and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There is still a clear commitment for us to continue developing our youth academy, try to win the league title as well as the Coupe de France. And in our return to the Champions League, we need to try to reach the quarterfinal. Our transfer budget has gone up, I think partially due to not signing too many players in our first season. But I first want to talk about departures. I was keen on getting a transfer bid from Real Madrid. It just wasn't happening for Cherki. I don't often do this, but I'm going to include him as part of a swap deal. That means that he'll complete his dream transfer, but we're not going to be receiving any funds as part of the move. What was incredibly ironic is that moments after Cherki's departure, Madrid were looking to acquire Favre, a player that I was not looking to move on. I think Juventus is a good destination spot for Lukeba as he departs for 40 million. Diomande, a promising center back, will complete a transfer to Ajax for 10 million. One of our backup goalkeepers, Polersbeck, will complete a move to Salzburg for 2 million. And finally, Kone will sign with Besiktas for 1.5 million. There's a lot of different directions for us to go for transfers, but when I saw the opportunity to sign Karim Benzema on a free agent and return him back to Lyon, I couldn't pass up on it. He won 4 French titles with Lyon before his transfer away in 2009. During his spell at Real Madrid, he managed to accumulate 4 Spanish titles, 5 Champions League trophies, and of course the 2022 Ballon d'Or award. He has certainly expressed interest though to return to Lyon before his playing days are over. Especially with Champions League football, I want to make an effort to improve our defense. When I did a Fiorentina crew mode back in FIFA 21, Nikola Milenkovic quickly became one of my favorite talents. I was surprised to still see him at Fiorentina considering other big talents like Vlahovic and Chiesa had already transferred to Juventus. But to be fair to them, they are in the Coppa Italia final against Inter and have a chance of reaching the Conference League final if they can get through Basel in the semis. This is going to be a big move for the Serbian center back as he signs on a 25 million transfer, exactly at his market valuation. And with the departure of Lukeba, we're going to sign a left-footed defender and another former Lyon talent with Samuel Umtiti. At the time of his 2016 transfer to Barcelona, he was considered one of the most up-and-coming center backs in the world. Injuries have made his last few seasons more difficult, but we've got to remember that when he's healthy, he can be a star for us, even winning the World Cup in 2018 with France. A 15 million fee was not bad at all. He's currently valued at 14.5 million, so it's fair to say he's going to play a bigger role for us than he would have at Barca. With new competitions, I want to make sure we have squad depth at goalkeeper, and Guillermo Ochoa always seems to shine on the big stage, especially in the World Cup for Mexico. However, I think a return to France is quite realistic. His move from America to Ajaccio in 2011 kicked off his campaign in Europe. Throughout this save, I'm always going to be on the lookout for top future talent within Ligue 1, and Maxime Esteve is considered to be one of the best up-and-coming center backs within the league. Montpellier turned down an 8-figure bid from Nottingham Forest best in recent transfer windows. From the clips I've watched of him, he's a strong player and has a great sense of timing to make a tackle when needed. Realistically, I think he'd go for a little bit more than 12.5 million, but it is still more than his valuation of 10.5 million. We're going to kick off the qualification round of the Champions League with a pair of fixtures against Midtjylland. I know there's been a fair amount of changes to our starting 11, even shifting Lacazette to right wing, which to be fair is where he played earlier in his career. I couldn't justify not starting him considering the bids that we received and also him being one of the top scorers in France last season. But our scouting networks for the year will begin in Belgium for 9 months, searching for any type of player, Brazil once again searching for any type of talent, and I felt like we'd cover the United States as we haven't had any American signings yet this year. We'll search for any type of player. But getting right into the qualification round of the Champions League, the top player at Midtjylland is Gustav Isaksson. A late goal from Pulisic gave us the 2-1 winner in the first leg, and our homegrown talent bursting onto the stage to score a goal in the second leg, putting us through 3-1 on aggregate and up against Porto in the playoff round. The top player for them is Diogo Costa, who I wouldn't be surprised gets a transfer away within the next few windows. But a strong outing from us away from home, 2-0, gave us a comfortable lead, and Remy once again will score in the second leg to put us through 3-0 on aggregate. This is what our group stage will look like. We've got Bayern, Villarreal, and Celtic. Matisse Tell, a player we might know a little bit about, having transferred away from Stade Rennais Youth Academy. An interesting move for Roberto Firmino, presumably joining Villarreal on a pre-contract deal. And I couldn't help but highlight an American player at Celtic, Cameron Carter-Vickers, at a 78 overall. An exciting start to the January transfer window as we'll have new competitions to check up on. We've seen a rise in our Liga 1 standings as we've climbed up to 3rd place. PSG still seem to be running away with the title. And in our Champions League group, I'm really not happy with our display. Losing more matches than anything, but still advancing due to our fixtures against Villarreal being in our favor. Hopefully the changes I made to our squad will improve our form, specifically starting Remy out wide due to his goal contribution in the Champions League. But we'll start in the round of 16 up against Liverpool, who have completed a signing that would have been amazing a couple years ago. Not too sure about it now. Marco Reus featuring for them at an 82 overall. We win the first leg 2-1, goals coming from Favre and Pulisic, and it was a scoreless outing for both teams at Anfield. It put us through 2-1 on aggregate into the quarterfinals against RB Leipzig. Highlighting more Liga talents, Christopher Nkunku, part of PSG's youth academy and really shining during his time at Leipzig. Pulisic is going to continue his goal scoring in the Champions League as we did enough to get a draw at home 1-1. Benzema, also known to score in the Champions League, gave us a late winner in the 84th minute to put us through 2-1 on aggregate. You might remember Lyon featured in the Champions League semi-finals as recently as 2020 before losing to Bayern, but we'll need to get by PSG first. So many players to potentially highlight for them, but I chose Fonzie as he is a Bayern player at an 88 overall. So far, PSG has gotten the better of us as they win the first leg 1-0, a solid outing in the second leg, but still not enough for us to advance on aggregates. So as we recap this second season, it'll end in a similar fashion to last year. 3rd place in Liga with the top spot going to PSG, Marseille sealing that second Champions League spot. The relegated teams this season will be Saint-Etienne, Angers, Sochaux, and Paris FC. Toulouse, Auxerre, Ajaccio, and Bordeaux earning their place back in Liga 1. PSG may well have had a very successful season as they won the Coupe de France 2-1 against Marseille. Bayern defeating Spurs to kick off the season in the UEFA Super Cup. I was very curious to see the Champions League final results, and it's Roma who got the win against PSG 2-0. Porto defeat Ajax in the Europa League final, and Real Sociedad get the win against Arsenal in the Conference League. Despite dropping in his overall rating, Benzema still had a pretty good goal contribution, 26 from 54. We once again earned the 3rd place spot for top scorers in Liga 1, with Mbappe being the sole recipient of the Golden Boot Award. Pulisic will continue his time as the assist leader at the club, 10 from 51. 8 of those assists come in Liga 1, making him the 5th best assist maker in the league. Cabella led the way with 11. Lopez will share the Golden Glove Award with Donnarumma as they both reach double digits. I'll make it a point to give you a loan update on our Youth Academy players. Carrera up +2 to a 66 overall. This saw us seeing some good growth during a short-term loan, up +6 to a 76 overall. Williams absolutely skyrocketed in his rating, up +12 to a 71 overall. And you don't often see this sort of back-to-back exponential growth, but we've achieved it with Kumbedi, up +8 in his overall to 83. Remy, during his first first season really starting for the club, went up +9 to an 86 overall. We brought back some new players. Brendan Phillips, a 65 rated center attacking mid from the United States, 79 to 93 potential. Florian Lefebvre is a 61 rated center back from Belgium. He's got 77 to 94 potential. And our Brazilian talent for the season is Pedro Ribeiro, a 59 rated left winger with 82 to 94 potential. Our early exit in the Coupe de France saw our manager rating plummet. Hopefully we can build upon our performances in the league and the Champions League. Slowly but surely, we're heading in the right direction with Lyon. I was surprised to see only 2 of our players out on international duty, but it looks like our primary objective for this season will be to sign a crucial midfielder or forward. For domestic success, we again have to try to win the league title and win the Coupe de France. It's a step up for our continental success objective as we try to reach the semi-final of the Champions League. It looks like our transfer budget has roughly doubled to 160 million, but we see it time and time again for these promising talents that eventually attract interest from some of the biggest clubs around the world. A lot of Serie A offers for Remy. It was ultimately that 100 million bid from Milan that was too much for us to turn down. We're going to use a lot of those incoming funds for new arrivals as we kick things off with Denis Zakaria. I think he's had a rough spell of luck since his transfer away from Mönchengladbach. Really not featuring on a consistent basis for Juventus or Chelsea. With that said, I still rate him highly as a player, as it looks like he may even transfer Ligue 1 with clubs like Marseille expressing interest. I'm glad we were able to complete this deal before other clubs started pursuing Zakaria. 45 million was the finalized transfer fee, about 5 million more than his valuation of 39.5 million. It's fair to say that the arrival of Pulisic has sparked something at Lyon. I'm going to try to achieve something similar with Serginho Dest. His decision to play for the US men's national team over Holland in 2019 gave a lot of hope to fans, even more so after earning a move to Barcelona from Ajax. In recent seasons, though, I think it's been a challenge to find a team with the right system, as he was loaned out this year to Milan. But it's going to be an internal transfer within France as he moves from Stade Rennais to here at Lyon for 35 million. Similar to the Zakaria deal, he signs for 5 million more than his valuation. And this may be a controversial move, but we're going to make the position change to right winger, as I prefer him further up the pitch. We'll continue adding squad depth with our next signing, Victor Nelson, who has been one of my favorite defenders to sign in career mode back since FIFA 20. Part of the Nordjylland Youth Academy system that has produced great talents over the years. He made a transfer to Copenhagen, shined there, and is doing even better now at Galatasaray. To be fair to the Super League, we're seeing more and more big transfers. Even other center backs like Kim Min-jae transferring to Napoli, where he is seen as evaluations soar even more. 25 million is what we had to pay for the center back with the leadership trait, and this actually was a deal where we could sign him for less than his valuation. It's the same drill as last season as we take part in the qualifying round of the Champions League. Here's the starting 11 with the improvements. Happy to see that most of our position changes have been completed, even one of our youth academy players switching from center attack mid to right wing to help with his development. We'll keep the scouting going though as we return to France for 9 months searching for any type of player, Belgium for 9 months looking for any type of talent, and finally Brazil for the rest of the season looking for any type of player. Fenerbahce will be our first opponent in the Champions League. Michy Batshuayi, he's well versed with Ligue 1 opponents, having had a very successful spell with Marseille. But we'll win the first match 2-1, goals coming from Tolisso and Benzema. Same scoreline in the second leg. Puts us through 4-2 on aggregate into the playoff round against another Portuguese opponent with Benfica. Typically, they're a very strong opponent because of how many high potential players they have, and they've made some good transfers as well, signing Ndika from Frankfurt. We'll continue with the 2-1 score lines, winning the first leg. And in the second leg, Benfica will force extra time. And unfortunately, we fall on penalties, knocking us out of the Champions League into the Europa League for the season. Our group stage opponents will consist of Club Bruges, Hearts, and Helsinki. Bruges, another club with some high potential players, including Antonio Nusa, who's at a 75 rating. Hearts have Lewis Nielsen, a 70 rated center back from Scotland. And finally, Helsinki always have this right back that I spotlight, but never quite reaches his potential. Despite the slow start to the season, we've picked up a manager award due to our form. Looking through these early season results, we only lost a single league fixture in the month of September and kept that winning streak going all the way up to December. I'm hoping by the time we check results in January, we can find ourselves toward the upper end of the Ligue 1 standings, and that we are, just 6 points shy of PSG for the top spots. And we were by far the favorites for our Europa League group, just drawing a single match and winning the rest. To be fair, I think our improved form in the Europa League has helped with squad morale as we once again have to deal with some expiring contracts. I will be giving a 1-year extension for Karim Benzema, but I think we'll be moving on from Lacazette. He hasn't contributed as many goals as he did in the first season. That's partly due to lack of play time, but he is dropping in his rating. Ultimately, he completed a move to Mönchengladbach where he'll join up with Awar. Before we get into the knockout stages of the Europa League, we have a cup fixture against PSG. Can we break the streak of them defeating us? Well, the answer to that is no. A 75th minute winner from Soler puts them through to the semifinal of the Coupe de France. Hopefully we can shake things off from that defeat and find some good form in the Europa League. We'll start against Sevilla. Their best potential player, or highest rated player I should say, is Rafael Varane, who returns to Spain after a few years away at Manchester United. We win the first leg 2-1, goals coming from our new signing Dest and Favre. The second leg 2-0 in our favor, 4-1 on the aggregate, and now facing against Wolfsburg in the quarterfinals. You do like to see some of these transfers happen. Wout Weghorst returning back to the Bundesliga and his former club. It's a 1-1 scoreline in the first leg as Dest continues his goal scoring. A 2-1 win in the second leg, both goals coming from Benzema. It means that we'll face Fenerbahce in the semifinals, the team that we're matched up against in the qualifying round of the Champions League. To highlight a new player, they got Emre Mor at a 75 rating and 27 years old. It's a similar story though. We were the better side in this opening fixture, 3-0, and the second leg is a 1-1 draw. So 4-1 on aggregate means that we'll get into the final of the Europa League against Villarreal. A strong month of May performances will put us into a great position for the league. PSG just 1 point ahead of us, and of course it had to be the final match day, where we can potentially turn around our luck and start to finally rival PSG as the best team in Liga 1. I was hoping we'd be put into this situation before Benzema ultimately retires, and he of course is going to be a key player if we do want to get a victory here. It's going to be Camelo that plays Mbappe through over to Soler. He scored in the quarterfinals fixture of the Coupe de France. We were denying him there as we try to keep our defensive shape. The ball bouncing around our own 18-yard box, eventually falling to Danilo, and I've got to say that Lopez was putting in a man of the match performance, at least in this first half, as he denied multiple efforts to keep us in this game. It was the 38th minute as Soler will get another opportunity right in front of goal, but Lopez, quick on his reactions, keeps the match scoreless. The 71st minute is where we finally get the breakthrough. A long shot effort from Christian Pulisic. It was probably a long shot from going in, but he managed to beat Donnarumma, giving us a lead. That was going to be the game plan every single time. I'm not doubting that PSG have more quality in their starting 11, but I think we've got the right chemistry here at Lyon, and we did enough to see out this victory. It only took Benzema 2 seasons for him to return his boyhood club back to the top of France, and in the days following, we also became Europa League champions with Barcola scoring the winning goal against Villarreal. This time it's going to be Lacazette to lift the trophy. It's going to be a final send-off for him because he'll likely be retiring in the next few seasons featuring for Mönchengladbach. You can't ask for much more as far as an end-of-season recap goes. It was really between us and PSG for the Liga title. Glad to see that we've got a new third-place team with Nice. Montpellier, Stade Brestois, Bordeaux, and Ajaccio will be the teams to see relegation. Angers, Clermont, Foot, Sochaux, and Saint-Etienne earning promotion to Liga 1. PSG still managed to collect a trophy as Coupe de France winners as Roma win the UEFA Super Cup to kick off the season against Porto. Juve and one of our former players, Lukeba, securing a Champions League title against Manchester City, and Arsenal win the Conference League against Nantes. Even more goal output from Benzema this year despite the lower rating, 33 from 55. It put him as the 5th best goal scorer in the league. Once again, it's Mbappe to get the golden boot. And for a change, Benzema also had the most assists at the club, 11 from 55. He still managed to sneak into the top 10 for this category as 2 PSG players share the top award. Our American Youth Academy talent, Brendan Phillips, has gone up +3 in his rating to a 68 overall. The Belgian center back, Lefebvre, has gone up +6 to a 67 rating. Carrera, one of our many Brazilian talents, up +3 to a 69 overall. Willems is making the case to be a future left back for us as he's gone up +4 to a 75 rating. Massage made that position change to right wing at the start of the season. He went up +7 over the course of the year to an 84 overall. And for some new players getting promoted, Lambert is a 65 rated goalkeeper, 17 years old and 78 to 94 potential. Fontaine, a 64 rated French center attacking mid, 83 to 93 potential. And Ribeiro wasn't eligible for promotion last year, but that is no longer the case. 62 rated at 16 years old, the left winger from Brazil has 87 to 93 potential. Our manager rating starting to get in better shape, and I'm looking forward to start the season as league winners. I'm curious to see what the future will look like in Liga, whether this is a one-time slip-up from PSG or whether we can continue as champions. Barcola will take over as our starting center forward, with Benzema continuing to drop in his rating. It's going to take a few weeks to complete the change, but that should help improve some of his shooting attributes. As far as Lesage, he's going to be shifting back to a center attacking mid-role now that his rating's up to par. And for board objectives this season, we need to continue signing some crucial players to the squad. Look to win the league title, win the Coupe de France, and reach the final of the Champions League. Budget-wise, we've cleared the 200 million mark, so plenty of funds at our disposal. And we're going to kick off the arrivals with a return of another former player in Bruno Guimaraes. He spent 2 very successful seasons at Lyon, all the while breaking into the Brazilian national team, and has now become a fan favorite over at Newcastle as they try to make their push for Champions League football. One of my favorite players to watch in the Premier League this season, and I think he's making the case as one of the best midfielders in the league alongside with Kevin De Bruyne. While Liverpool is a top side, I think we're on an equal level with them so far in the rebuild, so I didn't mind the 100 million transfer. It's about 15 million more than his current valuation. And with the departure of Ochoa, we need to bring in another backup goalkeeper. Figured we continue with the American theme. Gabriel Solina has definitely seen a drop in his rating and potential as far as career mode goes, and I'm curious to see what the future will look like for him. After spending the rest of last season on loan in MLS in the Chicago Fire, he's back with Chelsea now, featuring predominantly in Premier League 2. It was only a 7.5 million transfer to finalize the deal as we continue our partnerships with Chelsea as far as transfer negotiations go. We did receive a couple of interesting bids from other clubs for our players. Spurs interested in bringing in Christian Pulisic, and this is a club that has had a few good Americans in the past like Clint Dempsey. But the only players to leave was Milenkovic as he makes a Premier League departure to Arsenal for 50 million. Coqueret will depart to Newcastle for 45 million. And I don't know how we didn't receive any Crystal Palace offers amidst all these Premier League deals, but Jeffrey Adelaide goes to Leicester City for 18.5 million. Lots of new competitions to begin this season. We'll start in the Trophy de Champions between us and Coupe de France winners PSG. I feel like we still kept a realistic approach to our starting 11 with lots of youth academy graduates featuring in the first team. And unfortunately, our penalty luck continues to go against us as PSG dominated us without a single one of our penalties being converted. Onwards to the next Super Cup. This is going to be the UEFA Super Cup against Champions League winners Juventus. A little bit more luck on our side, Benzema being brought on late and scoring the winning goal. So far, we're 1 for 2 out of all competitions. I think we're definitely going to have a chance to lift some more silverware before the season's over. And the Champions League is just the competition I'm looking to win. Our group consists of Barcelona, Celtic, and Utrecht. Lucas Paqueta, a former Lyon player over at Barcelona, and an 86 rating. Edson Edouard is the first glimpse we've seen of a connection to Crystal Palace as he's transferred back to Celtic at an 80 overall. And Utrecht have the American Taylor Booth featuring for them at a 74 rating. January 2026, we'll see how results have gone, and we've seen a big drop in our Liga standing, down to 7th place, but only 6 points behind 2nd place Nice. A much better outing from us in the Champions League though, especially compared to Season 2. 13 points accumulated. It was just a better performance by a good Barcelona side that didn't see us finish first. And starting 11-wise, not too many issues to talk about. Our players are maintaining their overall, so we can get right into the round of 16, where we'll face Liverpool once again. Marco Reus seems to have retired or transferred away, but Leon Goretzka taking his place as one of the Germans at the club at an 86 rating. Barcola featuring on the biggest stage, scoring the only goal in the first leg, giving us a 1-0 victory. And it was a draw at Anfield that sees us go through 2-1 on aggregate. Big setback though for Serginho Dest as he's going to be out for 7 months. That means we need to switch things up at right wing. So for the time being, Favor will feature there at an 84 rating. A rematch of last season's Europa League final, we face Villarreal in the quarterfinals. They've completed the signing of Nuno Mendes at an 88 rating. I'm certainly not against them taking players away from PSG as the first leg ended in a 1-1 draw. It went into extra time in the second leg, but one of our Botafogo players, Jefinho, is starting to make an impact on the save, scoring a 110th minute winner. It's time for the semifinals where we'll match up against the team that won our group, Barcelona. Always known to make a striker signing in career mode, Victor Osimhen featuring at a 90 rating. But Christian Pulisic, the only player to score a goal in the first leg. And as we travel to the Camp Nou, it's a 1-1 draw. Pulisic converting a penalty to put us through to the Champions League final against Manchester City. With this being the final fixture that we'll play this season, we'll review results and we climb up the Ligue 1 standings to second place. We're able to catch up to PSG. Relegation spots going to Clermont Foot, Sochaux, Angers, and Metz. Stade Brestois, Ajaccio, Montpellier, and Bordeaux will see promotion to Ligue 1. PSG saw the season start with a victory against us in the Trophée des Champions, and we saw another round of 32 exit in the Coupe de France, with PSG also winning this competition against Stade de Reims in the final. Fortunately, we got our revenge in the UEFA Super Cup against Juve. Espanyol won the Europa League against Rangers, and Inter defeated Strasbourg in the Conference League final. This was probably Pulisic's best season for goal contribution, 28 goals scored from 51 appearances. He also ranked as the third best goal scorer in Liga, not far behind Mbappe and Castellanos as league leaders. For the assist category, it's one of our Youth Academy promoted players, Lesage, who completed 12 assists from 50 appearances, actually leading Liga with 11 assists from 36. At this stage, we know which Youth Academy players would be good enough for our first team, and I would say Willems would be the perfect takeover for Tagliafico as he starts to get older. Also reviewing some former talents, Cherki's still over at Real Madrid at an 83 rating. Lukeba saw the opportunity to come back to Liga as he joins up with PSG, and our homegrown talent Remy still at Milan at an 88 rating. But you're going to notice some more changes in this Champions League final lineup. Just before the match, our starting goalkeeper Lopez and captain suffered an injury, leaving him out for 3 months. That means our backup GK Slonina will need to step in at the biggest stage. We haven't had great injury luck this season, but hopefully we can rally together as a team and try to find success in this Champions League final. City are going to start the highlights with Pedri playing the ball out wide to Phil Foden. De Ketelaere with an effort on Slonina's near post, equal to it, and that's exactly what I wanted. Give him some easy chances at the beginning so that he can hopefully find his groove, as he hasn't featured a lot for us this season. But Pulisic has scored goals basically every single match on the biggest stage, and he's going to do it again here. Only took him 22 minutes to bring out his signature celebration, and now we've still got 70 minutes left to hang on in this one. We're in the second half and approaching the final stages of this match, and it's Kokchu to play the ball in. It bounces around a couple of times and just keeps on recycling possession between their players. Going back to Kokchu, and he's going to get the equalizer in the 80th minute. It's going to force extra time as we're in the 112th minute now. Pulisic beating the defender out wide, finding Barcola in the middle, a few step overs, an easy layoff pass to Favre, another player that wasn't key in our starting 11 to begin the season, but due to injury, he had to step in, and that he has, scoring the winning goal in this Champions League final. Despite the odds being against us, we had the right chemistry here at Lyon to break PSG's dominance in Ligue 1 last season, and now have the claim to fame as the best team in Europe.